I'm Don Morris, recently retired ex-professional rugby player. Unfortunately had to retire due to injury earlier than expected. I spent the last 10 years playing at Saracens, and I've also represented England at under 16 through to under 20 level. Yeah, so I recently retired from rugby through injury. Unfortunately, it was kind of out of my hands. I think the last few seasons of my career was littered with a lot of injuries, and it kind of got to the point where I realised probably wasn't best I carried on for my overall health and well-being. So I took the tough decision to stop, and I think that obviously led me to explore other paths of career, which in all honesty I found a lot tougher than I thought I would. A lot of people do tell you how tough the transition is, but I think until you actually go through it and you live it, it's hard to know. So yeah, I found it tough, but I'm really pleased to be out on the other side and looking forward to the future. To be completely honest, I thought I was going to walk straight out of sport once I retired and find it really easy to get a job. I think I had a degree behind me. I'd worked hard during playing and did a degree online, but I thought it was going to be a lot easier. It turns out that wasn't the case, and it took me a good few months to really get my head down and realise that this is a lot harder than I expected, and I had to speak to the right sort of people. So that's kind of where athlete career transition stepped in, and it was really beneficial, and it provided me with a lot more clarity to work towards certain careers and really streamline my efforts. Yeah, so athlete career transition was a massive help for me on my journey of transitioning out of professional sport into the real world. They were super helpful. I think it was good to be able to speak to people who could resonate, who could understand what you're going through, and also who could tell you what your strengths are. I think a lot of the time when you're looking at all these new career paths, you're worried that you feel like you're not qualified enough, or you don't have the background to be able to excel in these careers. But they gave me a lot of confidence, and talked to me about how what I've learned from sport directly applies to the real world and careers I can take going forward. So no, I found the whole process massively beneficial. Super friendly guys, and everything was super beneficial, especially during such a tough time where I didn't know where or what I was going to do next. It provided me with a soundboard to be able to speak to someone, and allowed me to explore and communicate how I was feeling, and also look for those opportunities elsewhere. I think one of the things that I struggle with the most coming outside of that professional sport environment is probably a loss of identity. My whole purpose, my whole drive for the last 10-20 years has been towards being the best rugby player and athlete I can be. And I think having that taken away from you completely changes your perspective on things and your outlook on life in general. So I found that quite tough, and also probably coming away from that team environment. Being alongside people with similar mindsets, like-minded people, always looking to improve, and mates at the end of the day. You've grown up playing with a lot of the guys I did for 5-10 years, and it's tough to come away from an environment like that, and almost felt quite isolating when you step away from it. So yeah, I found it tough, but I think I'm trying to flip it all on its head and use everything I've learned from the professional sport environment and apply it into my next career and see how things go. I think the biggest thing for me that I've learned from sport, which I've been able to apply to my new career, is probably resilience. The ability to bounce back from the highs and lows of sport. I think sport obviously has massive highs, but also comes with lows, whether that's not being selected or injuries. You get used to this roller coaster ride, and I think that's something that I've taken into my new career. Especially when you're learning and starting out, things don't always go your way, and you're almost having to learn from the bottom again, and there can be some frustrations with that, a lot of ups and downs, and I think it stead me in good stead, having that resilience to be able to ride the wave and understand that when things are low, they're only going to pick back up. So and I think just another point on that is just the work ethic. I think it's naturally ingrained as you as an athlete just to work hard and dig deep, and I think I've tried to utilise that going forward as well. I think what I enjoyed the most about working with Athlete Career Transition was having a soundboard, someone who could resonate with how I was feeling, someone who understands it, and also just being given the confidence to feel like I have value to add to different workplaces, to different careers other than being a professional athlete. And I think they did a really good job at explaining how I can apply what I've learned from sport into the real world. And that was massively helpful, and probably at a time where I needed it the most, when I was probably feeling a bit lost. So no, I was very grateful to have their support on that, and I enjoyed working with them. Really lovely team, and just grateful for all their help. I think some advice that I'd give athletes either looking to retire or thinking about retiring and looking at their next career is to really have a sit down and think about what you enjoy, what are your strengths, and ultimately what can you be paid for. I think when those sort of three things align, you'll be doing something that you love. And it took me a long time to kind of put that all together and work towards a career that really suits me. And I'm still on that journey. I'm still learning from that whole process. So just taking time to reflect and probably look within, because I know as an athlete all your life is geared towards just being the best athlete and sportsman as you can. And I think it forces you to look at yourself in a different way and almost look at what sort of things you can be doing outside of sport to really help you excel and grow as a person, and also develop a career that you can do ultimately for the rest of your life, because sports is a short game and you're going to spend a lot more time in the next career. So getting ahead of the game and planning for what's next is really important. And the other thing I would say is just having people to speak to. I think people that you respect, people that you look up to, people that have been through it. I think unless you've been through it, you don't fully understand it. And also, just reaching out and speaking about how you're feeling, because it is tough. And also speaking with as many people as you can, just to get an insight of what to expect.